إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة كل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. We spoken about nikah and production and all sort of events that take place before marriage, and then marriage itself, and then during marriage. We talked about problems, and we talked about problems on the woman's side, in the woman part, the spouse, the wife, problems that caused by the man, the husband, and we talked about trying to find a solution. And when they are different, we went gradually with different solutions to maintain the marriage, And the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sharia of Allah wants to maintain. When two Muslims come together, remember before they're husband and wife, because unfortunately it reaches a level where they become enemies. The husband and wife become enemies, and they take each other to court, and they sue each other, and they torture each other, and a long list of what abuse they can do. So it's very important for us as Muslims to remember that before this woman was your wife, or during while she's your wife, remember that she's your sister in Islam, and most probably you will not tolerate that someone abuses your sister, your blood sister, and someone abuses the daughter of your mother and father. You should always remember as a man that this is perhaps at the same level, even more, because your sister might not even be Muslim. You understand? And mu'minuna ba'duhum awliya'u ba'd. And the believers are the friends and the allies of one another. So it's very important to understand that this woman you choose to abuse, whatever reason, remember she is your sister in Islam. وَلَا يُؤْمِنُ أَحَدُكُمْ حَتَّى يُحِبَّ لِأَخِيهِ مَا يُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِهِ. And no one truly believes until he loves for his Muslim believer, brother or sister, what they love for themselves. The hadith is for akhi, but that includes the brother and the sister equally, as many hadith say. So it's very important to understand that, and vice versa. The wife needs to remember that this man is her brother in Islam, and he has rights over her, and to avoid all that. So if it doesn't, as the sharia of Allah doesn't work out, then maybe the right solution, because as we said, the goal of marriage is mawadda, mahabba, friendship. If these goals are not achieved during marriage, then it will be better off. It would be better off to end up with divorce. Divorce can be the solution. Some people you sit with, they want to try to make it up, they're having marital problems. If they stay with each other for a couple of days more, someone's going to kill the other. It's going out of hand. The Sharia of Allah gives an alternative, gives a solution. And some people look at divorce as a shame. It's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that in general the hukum of divorce is makruh. The divorce is makruh. But we will see some occasion, some situation where divorce is a mandatory, is a wajib. And we will see sometimes it's mustahab, and sometimes it's haram, and sometimes it's makruh. Okay? And sometimes it's mubah. So it's very important to understand in general, and the default of divorce in the deen of Allah is makruh. It's not recommended. However, in some situation it becomes recommended, actually it becomes an obligation. And we will see these situations as we go on, inshallah. But the point is, divorce is a solution. Divorce is a solution that it's natural that two people are going to get married, but it doesn't work out. They can't agree. They can't coexist. They cannot go along with each other. They cannot be practically. All these things count and cause a lot of issues. So divorce is a solution. But you see that divorce, the chapter of divorce is mentioned after everything else when it comes to marriage. Because in other words, we're going to try everything to save this marriage. Okay? We're going to try every technique, every way to save this marriage. If it doesn't, if it's beyond repair, you ended up, just like anything else in life, if it's beyond repair, you get rid of it. Okay? So this is marriage. If it's going to cause more harm, it's going to cause problem. If there are kids involved and they have to witness all these things every single day, they wake up on their mother or their mother crying, got beaten by the father. That is not healthy for a society. We're trying to produce a healthy family. Such kids being raised in under such parents, for sure they will not be healthy. Actually, they will be more detrimental to the society than any. And you can see psychological problems with little kids because of marital and domestic abuse. So inshallah, we start talking about the talaq for the next few weeks, and talk about the rules and the ahkam and what's related to divorce and how it's conducted and what is dependent on it and what it leads to. All these things very important to understand, because a lot of people, a lot of Muslims don't understand about divorce. And now, unfortunately, it's very sad that it's becoming so rampant. Divorce becoming so common amongst the Muslims. You get people married today, 2 months, how is, wallahi, we split, didn't work out. So it becomes an easy thing to do these days. And perhaps because of what they see around them, so they become numb. They become habituated for the situation, the environment around them. So, well, so-and-so got divorced, so-and-so got, so what's the big deal if I get divorced? Even though divorce is a major thing, okay? Divorce is a major thing, because the contract of marriage is a major thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He describes the marriage contract, عقد النكاح, ميثاقا غليظا, very serious, big, important, highly perceived contract. So such contract, when it's broken, it's a major thing too. Okay? It's not any contract. It's not like you sold a book and now you want to break, you don't want to give it anymore. That's different. But here we're talking about serious. Allah calls this contract the marriage contract غليظ. يعني ثقيل, شديد, heavy, serious, okay, important. So when we decide to break it, that's a serious matter as well. So you find a lot of Muslims are so unaware of these things. Okay? A brother calls me and he divorced his wife, I would say 10 days ago, and he has a daughter from her. So so I'm talking to him, he's talking to me and all that. So he talks to me about, she comes from Christian family. His wife is Muslim, and so she comes from Christian family. Now the woman is staying in her parents' house with his daughter. So he's telling me how he told her that he needs to make sure that his daughter does not get involved in any of these celebrations, Christmas and all that. And he tells her, you're on your own. You're not my wife anymore. You do whatever you want. That's not my responsibility. And he's wrong. And that is the lack of understanding of divorce. This is the first time he divorces her. She's still his wife until her iddah is over, in the sense that he can take her back at any minute. In the fact that he can have intimacy with her in any minute, and that will indicate that he took her back. That's why she needs to stay in the house, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to try. Maybe we're upset today, maybe it's going crazy, I divorce you, but if you stay in my face, then maybe 2 days later I feel better, we feel better, we're okay now. You look at me, I look at you, let's make up, let's kiss, and it's done. She's your wife again. Yes, one divorce counts, but she's your wife. That's why if you see when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة واتقوا الله ربكم لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبين. Okay, it's very clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet ﷺ, and thus telling us in the Quran, He says subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Prophet ﷺ, when you divorce women, there's a period they have to stay unmarried. They cannot marry anyone. And during this iddah, as we talk about iddah later on, not today, but during this iddah you have the right to take them back. They have the right to make up, and they don't need a new contract. Okay, they don't need a new contract. The ulama have different opinion if they need witnesses, but they don't need a new contract. She doesn't need wali. There is no need to talk about mahr. He can take her. If they look at each other, if he even gives a hint that, you know what, I take you back. If he tells her, I take you back, let's make up, and she said, okay, they're back. They're husbands and wife. That's why they need to stay in the, that's why the woman needs to stay in the husband's house, not to run out, or the husband doesn't need to run out. How are we going to make up? Yes, we divorced her, well, they still can't make up. But if she's away, she's at her parents' house, and they're filling her head, and her mother is talking to her, what you want from him? Get rid of him. I get you Sidu, I get you married to someone better than him, to this, then. Of course, there is, the chance of them making up is different. So it's very important. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet ﷺ, they should not, when they get divorced, they should not leave their homes. And you should not chase them out unless they came up with major crime. And we'll talk about what that is. But the point is, when a woman gets divorced the first time or the second time, she stays in her husband's house. So I told him, it's your responsibility still. You're still obligated to spend on her. You're still obligated to fulfill her as long as she's in her iddah. Okay, in this period, people say 3 months. It's not 3 months. We will indicate exactly how long that is. But the point is, almost 3 months, maybe more. It's usually a little more. But the point is, they stay in their homes with their husbands. Okay? So if he decides to take her back, if they decide to make up, alhamdulillah, they're husbands and wife again. And we'll talk about that in that house. So the point, the reason I brought this up, to show that a lot of us are ignorant. Okay, I get questions from masjid imams who are so, their knowledge of divorce issues very limited. And it's not something major, because it's hardly, people when they get divorced, it's not something you do every day, like Hajj. Okay, and we did Hajj today, but when we decide to go next year, or this year, when we decide to go next year, we're going to review the ahkam of Hajj and the fiqh of Hajj, because when you don't do something always, you tend to forget the rulings. Okay, so it's very important to understand all these issues. طلاق معناه في اللغة التخلية. طلاق, divorce in the language, in Arabic language, it means تخلية, to let go. Okay, obviously you can connect that with the Sharia حكم حل قيد النكاح أو بعضه بإيقاع الطلقات الثلاث أو الاثنتين أو الواحدة. So in Sharia and in fiqh, in the religion, the definition of الطلاق is to break that contract. Okay, to break that contract, whether by one divorce or twice or thrice or thrice, or 3 times. Okay, and we will talk what that means. So, but in other words, the talaq, you guys understand, اسمه مصدر, you understand what that is. حكم الطلاق. What is the حكم of الطلاق? We know anything in Islam has حكم. الحكم, when we say حكم, what is its status in the Sharia? Is it wajib? Is it mustahab? Is it mubah? Is it makruh? Or is it haram? Anything in the deen is one of those 5. Okay? Either haram, makruh, not recommended, mubah, permissible, mustahab, recommended, wajib, obligatory. Anything. Salat al-farida, wajib. Okay? Salat al-sunnah, nafila, رواتب مستحب. Eating مباح. Okay, permissible. طلاق مكروه. Okay. Zina, adultery, forbidden, haram. Understand? So when we talk about the talaq, we say that talaq can be all the five. Talaq can be all the five depending on the situation, on the circumstance. But the default, okay, the default, most of the time divorce is makruh. Divorce is makruh, not recommended, most of the time. And if you look in reality, most of the time when divorce takes place, it could have been solved without divorce. The problems could have been resolved without divorce. And most of the time, the issues that led to divorce, not worth it. Yani to take the step of getting married to a man or a woman, that's a major step. Then you come to see why he divorced her, or why she asked for a divorce, or why they split. Doesn't make sense. So most of the time divorce is makruh, not recommended. What is the dalil on that? قول الله تعالى للذين يؤلون من نسائهم تربص 4 أشهر فإن فاءوا فإن الله غفور رحيم وإن عزموا الطلاق فإن الله سميع عليم. We'll talk about this, but if you look in this ayah, فإن فاءوا, if they decide to come back to their minds, okay, then Allah forgive the past. And if they want to divorce, then Allah سميع عليم, then let them get divorced. So you sense in the way the ayah is constructed, you sense or you feel a sense of threatening, of تهديد. Okay? يعني للذين يؤلون من نسائهم, يعني what they used to do is someone will come and say, you know what? He wants to punish his wife, right? He tells her, يعني they get into, I will not sleep with you for 6 months. Of course he's punishing himself. Not when you have 4. But the issue is, of course, there's a problem with that. But the point is, we talked about al-ila in a previous lecture. But the point is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He, so فَإِن فَاءُوا, يعني رَجَعُوا, and if He changed His mind, then Allah is forgiven. And as if Allah, you better change or you divorce. That's what the ayah says. 6 months. If you go over 4 months, if you're يعني you say over 4 months, you either رَط أو طلاق. Okay? You either break your promise by يعني being intimate with your wife, or divorce her. It's the divorce. And if he refuses to divorce, refuses to then the qadi or the judge will divorce her on his behalf. That's you. People ask, why 4 months? The hikmah. If it was 2 months, they will still ask why 2 months. And if it was 3 months, why 3 months? Allah, 5 prayers a day, 5 prayers a day. Was 7, why 7? It was 2, why 2? Same thing. خلاص, Allah chose. وَالْخِيرَةُ فِيمَا اخْتَارَهُ اللَّهُ. And you have to believe as a believer, the best is in what Allah chooses for you. Yes, I can give you many logics why it's 5. I can give you many logics why it's 4 months. But yet, we're still not given that knowledge to know, is it why, if my opinion or my effort to deduce that opinion or that reasoning or rationale, we'll never know if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. So what's the point? Okay? So from this ayah, the ulama and the scholars concluded that divorce by default and asl, makruh. Okay? Very important to understand. There's a famous hadith that people say all the time, أبغض الحلال عند الله طلاق. That the most detestful halal, the most detestful permissible thing for Allah is divorce. First of all, this hadith is weak and should not be said. Even some of the ulama went to the level to say, يعني even the matn, يعني the hadith itself, not just the chain. The chain is weak, but even the matn, يعني the body of the hadith is contradictory to the fact. أبغض الحلال عند الله الطلاق. If it was halal, why it's detested? Why Allah would hate something that is halal? Why Allah will let you something that He hates? Will let you do something or allow you to do something He hates. You understand? So very important to understand. So this hadith should not be uttered, should not be said. It's not a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ did not say that, most probably, and it's contradictory to the deen. And the ayah is enough. متى يجب الطلاق? So we said it's makruh. Now, sometimes it's obligation, it's obligatory, it's a must, it's mandatory to divorce. And there are certain situations where this takes place. One is al-ila, which is the scenario we said. Some man tells his wife, gets upset with her, I will not sleep with you for a year. Okay? Most probably, this man who said that is married to another woman. So, it's not going to harm him as much, but it's harmful to the woman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the permission maximum 4 months. When the 4 months period comes, you got the choice. You cannot proceed with your oath. You have to take care of the woman. Or if you choose not to, I want to proceed with the oath. She's divorced from you. The judge will get her divorced. So you got an ultimatum. Allah gives him an ultimatum. You sleep or you divorce. And all this to preserve the right of the woman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threatening this man for this woman. Okay, you show me which religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will threaten the man, the husband, for the sake of the wife. So it's very important. So if he does not go with the sleep, with the intimacy, and give her her rights, because she got needs to, then he becomes obligated to divorce. So in this scenario and circumstance, you see that divorce is mandatory. Also, talaq becomes mandatory إذا فرطت المرأة في حق الله. When the wife is neglectful of the rights of Allah, then it might reach a level where the husband should divorce her. He tells her pray, she doesn't pray. Cover, she doesn't cover. Fast, she doesn't fast. Cannot do that, it's haram. She doesn't care. Cannot drink, she drinks. Cannot do. That is haram. If the wife is like that, refuses to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the man becomes obligated to divorce. What's the point? What's the point of living with a woman every single minute of her life disobedience to Allah? If we said the hikmah and the wisdom of marriage to build a good family, to have love and passion and tranquility in the house, how can you have that with a woman like that? That's if you care about Allah yourself. No Muslim who wants to please Allah can see his wife like that and stay quiet or be okay. Can't. You can't. So perhaps it reaches a level where you become, as a man, as a Muslim, obligated to divorce this woman. Of course, we say, after trying and after being patient and after following the steps that we talked about and trying everything, she persists and she continues on that arrogance and on that behavior and that ta'annut and that hard-headedness, then divorce is a solution. Or tarakat al-iffa, tizn, al-iyadu billah. A man who finds his wife committing zina, she's cheating on him. So the ulama and the deen of Allah, she doesn't repent and you don't trust her repentance, divorce. You become obligated to divorce. Or you will be the youth. The youth, a man who got no jealousy at all. He can see his wife or his women doing whatever and he doesn't even care. It's like the kuffar. That's part of their disease. Their daughters, their sisters, their wives. He might be sleeping in bed, doesn't even know where his wife is, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Human being with sound fitrah and sound nature refuses that. Where is she? Who is she with? Animals got that jealousy. Animals feel jealous for their mates. We human beings, even that, we don't care anymore. Okay? So it's very important to understand it. And that is the youth that the Prophet ﷺ warned of, doesn't even get into the Jannah. The youth, the one who doesn't feel any heat for it. Some sisters come and complain that they want to cover and their husbands tell them no. SubhanAllah. Why you want the whole world to share your wife with you? Even if it's a look or a touch. Some people say, what's the big deal? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. That's my wife. She's mine. You understand? Mine. Belong to me. Why I want the whole world to share her with me? Vice versa. So it's very important to understand that. So if my wife, God for someone's wife, commits zina or adultery with someone, if you don't feel that, she get, as they say, busted, and she doesn't repent, and you still see or think or feel that she's doing and she doesn't, divorce. Why would you keep a woman like that? It becomes haram to stay with a woman like that. So it's very important to understand that. If you see repentance from her, regret, she made a mistake, she fell for the temptations, she got tempted, she got whatever. Well, if you feel that she's sincere, if you want, if you think you can overlook that, because these things you can never forget. If you think you can live with that, then, but you have to see that she's becoming, she's returning to the past, she's repenting. Other than that, get rid of her. جاء في سنن أبي داود والنسائي بسند صحيح عن ابن عباس, a man came to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يا رسول الله إن امرأتي لا ترد يد لامس, فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم طلقها. فقال الرجل إني أحبها. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أمسكها. Man came to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, this is صحيح. He said, يا رسول الله إن امرأتي لا ترد يد لامس. This does not mean that she's committing fornication or adultery, or she's cheating on him or that. She is, the ulama said, the meaning of this, because if it was, then the Prophet ﷺ would have not given him a choice. He said, Ya Rasulullah, my wife is lenient with men in the way she deals with men. She jokes with this guy. She talks, she laughs loud with this guy. She's this, she's that. She's lenient. She doesn't feel there are limits when she deals with men. Okay? لا ترد يد لامس. Doesn't mean that whoever wants to do fahisha with her or commit adultery, she tells him, okay, لا ترد يد لامس, then he would have been obligated to leave her. لا ترد يد لامس, she's lenient. Flirts? طيب, part of it. عشان ما تزعلش بس. Okay? ما هو usually
ما في بوس يا حبوب
ما هو flirting usually will lead. There is hidden intent when you flirt. You want to get something. This woman is not like that. This woman, okay, the way you understand flirting, yalla, تزعلش, don't be upset. Alright? If the woman is loose with men, okay, let's leave it like that, loose, okay, then that is the way this man complained. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, divorce her, because he's complaining. So the man said, I love her. In another narration he said, maybe if I do that, I'll start looking for her. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, then keep her. Then keep her. So here we see that the Prophet ﷺ told him to divorce her when she acted like that. Then he gave him the option to keep her. So now here we are in such situation, to divorce the wife, we're between two things. Either recommended, when he said divorce her, or permissible, mubah. You want to divorce her, you divorce her. You don't want to divorce her, you keep her. Because that's what the hadith. In other words, you want to divorce her, divorce her. You want to keep her. But perhaps the fact that the Prophet ﷺ, the first option he gave him, divorce her, indicates that this is what you should do. The fact he gave him another option, that means the first option wasn't mandatory. So he only recommended, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet ﷺ only recommended. So you look at the scenario, at the circumstances, at the situation. Can she be changed? Can I talk to her? Her family? Can I get someone to advise her? Can I teach her this? So maybe it's better not to divorce her. But you still have the right. Now, sometimes people will come to ask for fatwa about his wife, for example. She did this, should he divorce her? Sometimes the act that she committed is so shameful. يعني a man, a real man, should not even think he should divorce her. You understand? يعني what she did is outrageous. He should not even give his mind the chance to think. Such women should not be kept. But they come to ask for the fatwa. So a lot of the times the wisdom of the mufti, the one who's giving them the fatwa, to tell him keep her. Because the fact that after that crime she committed, yet you still come and ask if you should keep her, that tells me you want to keep her. Yeah. So if I tell you that divorce her, I know you will not divorce her. You're just coming for some encouragement to keep her. You understand? So you have to look at the situation as someone who advise people. There is no black and white. You have to look at the whole scenario. Okay? I heard one of the shuyukh. He said this woman and this guy, they're married for over 4 years. And they have kids, they're ready to get married back home, and it's a major thing when a woman gets divorced, especially late. So he came to him and he told him 1, 2, 3. The story. She wants to be divorced, this. So he said after 4 years, why she wants you to divorce her? He said, I don't know. She said she just can't do it. Now, he cannot stay with a woman who doesn't want him. So he divorced her. After her iddah was over, she married his best friend. Now it's obvious why. And this actually, the reason that happened, because of the excessive mingling. That's what it is. He take his wife, his friend will, and his friend also divorced his wife, who married him. They'll go visit each other, mingling, vacations together, just as you said. That's adl. Equal طيب. They go, they travel together, they swim together, they whatever, they party together, mingling, excessive. That is why it's haram. He comes, his friend goes to his house. Oh, he's not home. Come in, you're like my brother. Say he's coming in an hour, he'll be here. My husband. That is all haram. And you know these things happen back home. Even the father, the brother-in-law. If the wife is there, and her husband is not there, and his brother come to visit, because back home there is no, you call and, oh, I'm coming. People jump on you, you don't even know. 12 at night, and they come knock, we're coming to visit. So they come and he's not there. At work, he went to buy something, he went to pray, whatever the situation. Oh, come in. She cannot tell him, no, don't. It's become shameful. That is haram. And how many problems and how many stories I can tell you about brother-in-laws with their brothers or sisters-in-law, what had happened. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked about al-hamu, the brother-in-law, he said al-hamu al-maut. He said the brother-in-law is death. Look how serious. Death. Why? Because the stranger I know is a stranger. But I look at the brother-in-law, this is my husband's brother, what can he do? But they don't know that when they're alone, the shaitan is there. They don't know. Some brothers come to me and they said, Alhamdulillah, I brought my brother from overseas and now so the very first question I ask, what do you think I ask? Where is he staying? Exactly. Oh, in my house. I said, so you want to tell me that you manage to make sure that he cannot be in the house at the same time with your wife when you're out? Impossible. Impossible. So we need to be aware of that. First of all, it's not fair for him, and it's not fair for her. She can't even, forget about, she might be strong not to fall for him, he's like her brother. If we're gonna all that, smooth talk. She cannot be comfortable in her house. She has to cover. Oh, she has to cover in front of my brother? Really? So all these things that need to be understood, need to be considered. So very important. Islam is a religion of avoidance. I'm not going to get a guy and put him with 10 supermodels and then tell him, be aware, zina is haram, fornication is haram, looking at a woman is haram. Islam doesn't do that. Okay? Actually in the Quran, it doesn't say do not commit zina. It says do not even come close to it. Don't come close to it. Anything that will lead you to zina, that is forbidden too. When you are with the woman alone in a room, well, I don't know what's going to stop. Unless you're Yusuf alayhi salam. Okay? Unless you're Yusuf alayhi salam or you have taqwa of Joseph alayhi salam, peace be upon him, I don't know if you're going to be able to stop. So very important to understand this religion of avoidance. Going to teach us how to avoid falling into these things. Then you continue to neglect and to ignore all these warnings, you only blame yourself at that, after that. So very important to understand that. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, no man alone with a woman, but the shaitan will be the third. You work in an office, whatever, and the end of the day, you're sitting in the office and your co-worker with you, a female. And you know how they want to dress when they go to work, like they're going to fashion show. That's haram. You should be the first one to run out. No, she's my co-worker, she's like my sister. Really? Really? The Prophet said, shaitan is the third. The shaitan will come to whisper to you. Will whisper to her. He. And you don't know what happens after that. How many people cheat with their co-workers? Stories we hear. It's very important to understand our religion is a religion of, it's not up to the individual to decide how he's going to live his life. Individual wants to, what he wants to do. He wants to be lazy, he wants to eat, drink, have intimacy, and sleep. What else do you want? And watch NFL. What else do you want? Watch TV the whole day. Mesmerized in front of a TV, flipping channel after channel. If man was to be left to himself, forget about it. Most probably, nothing will get done. But he's not. He who doesn't want to live according to the way of Allah will have to live according to the way of Allah. Will have to live according to a circumstance. He has to work because he has to pay his mortgage. He has to pay his bills. But if he didn't have to pay all that, most probably with some Budweiser or some Corona and sitting the whole day in front of TV. That's what he will do. That's what actually a lot of people do in this country. Okay? Because at the end of the day, Medicaid and Medicare and all that will pay for their bills. That is a problem in a society, in a system. Okay. متى يستحب الطلاق? Sometimes divorce is recommended. Okay? So here we covered wajib, mandatory. We talked about makruh. We'll talk a little more about that. We talked about mubah, permissible. Mustahab, يستحب الطلاق عند وجود الضرر باستدامة الزواج. It becomes recommended for the man to divorce his wife when there is harm inflicted on her, if this marriage continues. You see? To preserve her rights. Someone will say, what we talked about al-khulu'. Al-khulu' where she can go to the judge and or give him back what he gave her for mahr, or she compensate him so he can let her go. But maybe she can't. Maybe she doesn't have anything. Maybe her family is poor. So the man becomes recommended. Yani he will be rewarded if he was to divorce a woman like that. Yani you know your woman hates you. Oh, brother, what are you talking about? No women hate their husbands. Are you for real? Let's be realistic. Okay? There are women, yani the time the husband walks in, she's miserable. Either because of him or because of her. But a lot of the times it's him. Huh? Yani outside, if you would ask his friends, the people he hang with, this guy is awesome. He always laughing and he's making us laugh and he's generous and he's this. You go to his house, this guy is always frowning. Never laughs, never jokes, never talks to us. So cheap, so stingy. Some husbands put locks on their fridge. You know, that kind of people. Outside he's like a cat, inside he's like a lion. Awad, rahmah, mercy, love, passion with your family. Okay, so very important to understand. So if a woman is hating her husband, if a woman is afraid that because of this relationship between her and her husband, she's not doing what she's supposed to do to him, yet she's still afraid of not fulfilling her obligations, and he knows that, he should divorce her. It's recommended for him to let her go. To divorce her. Better for you and better for her. Okay? So this is a situation where there is harm. By the marriage continuing, there is harm on one of the spouses. Especially the wife, then the husband becomes recommended. The divorce is recommended. Recommended يعني, if you do it, you get rewarded for it by Allah. Okay? He should. يحرم الطلاق. طلاق can be haram. Huh? Yeah, you can do طلاق and it's haram to do it. When أن يطلقها في حيض، أن يطلقها في طهر جامعها فيه، أن يطلقها أكثر من مرة. All that is haram. What that means? If a husband, haram. Pay attention to that. Now we are not talking if the divorce is going to count or not. We'll talk about that some other time. Here we're talking about such divorce is haram. Okay? Again, I'm not talking if it will count or not. But to do it this way is haram. يعني, just to give you an example. Is killing an innocent person haram or halal? Haram. Forbidden. But once you kill him, now if it's haram, does that mean it doesn't count? You understand? Of course it's going to count and you're going to lose your head because of that. Okay? Or committing adultery, haram or halal? Haram. Does it count? So being haram or halal has nothing to do with are there ahkam will follow or not. You understand? So when I talk about divorce being haram, that doesn't mean I'm not talking about it's going to count or it's not going to count. The ulama have different opinions. But when we say haram, divorce is haram, يعني you are not allowed to do it at that time. But if you do it, then don't say, oh, it doesn't count. We'll see the opinions of the ulama. So when is it haram to divorce your wife? It's haram to divorce your wife if she's it's haram to divorce your wife during her period. Okay? Her menstruation period. Forbidden to divorce your wife. It's forbidden to divorce your wife if she is not in her period, but during that cleansing you had intimacy with her. Clear? Yeah. your wife usually have her period from the 1st of the month until, let's say, the 7th of the month. From the 1st to the 7th, it's forbidden for you to divorce. So from the 7th until the 30th, she's clean. If between, let's say, on the 10th, you had intercourse with your wife, from the 10th until the 30th, it's haram for you, it's forbidden to divorce. You understand now? So it's forbidden to divorce her during her period, and it's forbidden to divorce her not during her period if you had intercourse with her during that cleansing. And some of the ulama talked about in nifas, postpartum, but that is difference in opinion. And the third situation where it's forbidden to divorce your wife is, or a way to divorce her is if you say, I divorce you, I divorce you, or I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. Because we know a man is allowed to divorce his wife 3 times. So what's haram is to divorce her all the 3 one shot, or 2 one shot. The sunnah and the way it's done, once, that's it. So you can have some backup to make it up, and we'll talk about what the ulama said when someone divorces his wife more than once at the same time. We'll have that. Alright? The Prophet ﷺ was told that Abdullah ibn Umar divorced his wife during her period. He got angry. He got angry. And also he was told that a man divorced his wife 3 times, one shot. You're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced. That's it. In Islam, that's it. That's all you need for a woman to be divorced. The same way it's so easy to get married, it's so easy to get divorced. So you need to be careful with that. Okay? So when the Prophet was told a man divorced his wife 3 times, فقال النبي غضب, he was angry and he said, أيلعب بكتاب الله وأنا بين ظهرانيكم? You guys playing with the book of Allah and I'm still alive between you, amongst you? Playing with the book of Allah. Allah says divorce her once, and twice and 3 times. Not all one shot. Allah did not say divorce them 3 times. Allah wants to give you chances. Okay, wants to give you opportunities to change your mind, to realize you made a mistake. So why would you throw the 3, all of them, one shot? What's the point? If you want to divorce her, you divorce her, that's it. So very important to understand. So if we look at these things, when it's permissible to divorce, when she is not in her period and you did not sleep with her during that, alright? Or, if she's in her period, it's haram. So if she's not in her period and you did not sleep with her during that, it's okay to divorce. And what's the second?
You have to have the niyyah to divorce her next month.
La
It's a period you can't divorce and you have to have a niyyah.
Yeah, so you have the intention to divorce her next month. You know, in a month what can happen? She cook you good food, that's it. You forgive her. Anything can happen. Or she wants divorce and then you go get her something expensive, she'll be okay.
You lose.
Nah, you don't lose. If she's a good woman, you gain. A woman,
3 times.
a woman, either she has a period, or she doesn't have a period, or 1 week, or pregnant. So it's the divorce that is permissible during cleansing or tuhur, that did not sleep with her, or if she's pregnant. Alright? Clear? Sure. Alright. Some of the ulama call the divorce, the previous situation where we said haram, they call it divorce bid'i. Bid'a yani. It's bid'a to divorce your wife this way. Okay, and we'll talk about if that counts or not. Because Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said it doesn't count. Why? Because he said, the Prophet said, كُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ. And مَنْ أَحْدَثَ فِي أَمْرِنَا هَذَا مَا لَيْسَ مِنْهُ فَهُوَ رَدٌّ. Every innovation should be rejected and misguided. That means we cannot accept. And we'll talk about the opinions of the ulama. متى يباح الطلاق? When it's permissible to divorce. Every other situation. Okay? The woman has a bad manner. The woman doesn't do what she's supposed to do. When we said it's wajib, when it has to do with Allah. Now it has to do with you. Her food is salty. Because some people like, of course, here we're exaggerating, but some people, some husbands he cannot think. If the food is not good, cannot think anymore. He wants to divorce. Hold your horses. Relax. Okay? So, any situation where he cannot live with her. She got full mouth, bad mouth. She does things that it's really making him upset, making him annoyed, and she's not willing to change. These things make divorce permissible. But again, it's not an option you should rush to do. Okay? It's not something you should rush to do, and that is divorce. قال المؤلف لا يصح الطلاق إلا من زوج. Sure. Only the husband has that right to divorce. The woman doesn't have that right. That's it. الطلاق لمن أخذ بالساق. The man is the one, the husband is the one who has the right to divorce. The husband can delegate someone to divorce on his behalf. Sure. And again, when it comes to delegation to women, also there's difference in opinion. But I can delegate my father to divorce my wife. Can delegate any one of you to divorce my wife. Okay? As they say, give you the power of attorney. That is permissible. But yet, very important to pay attention to that. When I delegate someone to do something on my behalf, okay, he has to get the approval from me. For example, you tell someone, I'm thinking about divorcing my wife, but I'm not sure. And even if I decide to divorce, there is no way I can face her or I can tell her you're divorced. So he tells you, I'll do it for you. Maybe he doesn't like your wife or something. So you give him the power of it, you delegate him. You know what? If I decide to divorce my wife, you divorce her for me. I give you that power. Cannot go and divorce her. You understand? I still did not give you that permission. Okay, so just giving you the power, that doesn't mean legally maybe that he can do whatever. I don't know. In this country, if I give someone power of attorney, can he sell all my properties without asking me, without my approval? I'm sure I give him power of attorney for certain things, right? But Islamically, still have to tell you what to do. I'm just delegating you to do it on my behalf. But the decision, I'm the decision maker. Alright? So very important to understand that. Some of the ulama said, you can give power of attorney to your mother to divorce her. Forget about that. Mother-in-law having that right? Very difficult.
Should it be in writing?
Well, it's better, but it doesn't have to. Okay? It doesn't have to. But of course, if someone goes, let's say a brother, goes and he said to his sister-in-law, you're divorced, and your husband gave me the right to divorce you. Of course, that divorce doesn't count unless we go back to the husband. Did you give him that permission and the power of attorney to divorce you? If he says no, the husband did. So then the brother-in-law divorced a woman who's not his wife. Doesn't count. You understand? So very much we still need to return to that, to the one who was in charge. If it's written down and stamped and all that, then that's different. So Zawj is the only one who has that. Like, can I divorce a woman I'm not married to? You find it's common amongst the Arabs that some guy hanging out, alayya talaq, like he swears that he would divorce his wife if such and such team wins, for example. And he's not even married. So do we say that when he gets married she's divorced? No. Talaq liman akhadha bis-saq. Who deals with the hardships and with the responsibility, all that's the one who has the right to divorce, and that is the man in Islam. So if he did not have to go yet through all this hardship, to get married and responsibility, then he doesn't have the right to divorce. Or someone who's married one, and he wants to please her, he loves her, and she's worried that he's going to marry someone. So he tells her, I promise you, and I swear, that any woman I'm going to marry beside you is divorced. They even marry it. You know, so do we say that any woman he marries beside this woman is automatically divorced? La. So it doesn't count. Alright? Okay. The Prophet ﷺ قال لا طلاق قبل النكاح. There is no divorce before marriage. Obviously. So it's clear. Anyone who's going to say otherwise, this hadith is so clear to tell them no. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا نذر لابن آدم فيما لا يملك ولا عتق فيما لا يملك ولا طلاق فيما لا يملك. Very clear, straightforward hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, you cannot pledge what you don't own. No? يعني you're in the parking lot and they're asking fundraising and you say, or here they're having fundraising and you say, the most expensive car in the parking lot is for the fundraising. I donated for the masjid. It's not even yours. You know? Not even yours. Okay? Lady. So, also the Prophet ﷺ said, لا عتاق فيما لا يملك. يعني when they used to have slaves, you cannot free a slave who is not yours. ولا طلاق فيما لا يملك. And you cannot divorce, the Prophet ﷺ said, you cannot divorce a woman you are not married. Okay? So this issue. قال, the author said, من زوج مكلف. يعني the one who can divorce is someone عاقل بالغ. When the man divorces, for the divorce to count, this man has to be with his whole mind. His mind has to be present. And he has to be mature. That is al-mukallaf. So it's very clear, you understand. We understood and we learned from before, little kid can get married. Okay? But the divorce, they have different opinions about that. But the bottom line is, if the kid or the person who is married understand the meaning of divorce, then his divorce will count. If he doesn't know what it means to divorce, then we say the divorce doesn't count. Alright? Very clear opinion. قال مختار. Also, the husband, for the divorce to count, he got to be doing it voluntarily. If he's being coerced to do it, it doesn't count. Yeah. Someone with power, he sees a woman he likes, he wants to marry her. But she's married, so he brings her husband and he beats him up. And he tells him, if you don't divorce this woman, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to put you in jail, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get them to fire you from work. So he's forced now. I'm going to kill you, I'm going to harm you. That divorce doesn't count. That divorce doesn't count. Even if he tells her you're divorced, doesn't count. So you have to do it voluntarily. And that is the opposite of mukrah. Okay? What is the condition for coercion? Is if the person who's coercing, who's threatening, can go through with his threat. Yeah. You're fighting with your wife. Your 5-year-old son comes. He heard about divorce, that he heard his mother talking to her mother. I want to be divorced. I will be comfortable if we get divorced. So his 5-year-old comes to him. And his little gangster. He tells him, listen, you divorce my mom or I'll hurt you. Just giving you that example. You do, or her brother. She has a young brother, get excited, you know. He cannot handle this being done to his sister. He comes to her husband, 12 years old. You know, you divorce my sister or I'll kill you. You know this threat, most probably he cannot go through with. Okay? So you cannot just divorce her and then come back after 2 and say, oh, it doesn't count because I was threatened. Okay? I guess I ran out of charge. There is no charge on my phone. Okay. Alright, so if the person threatening or coercing Call this number. Salam. Call this number and then put this code and just put it. ما في شيء? I think the battery died on my phone. Okay. So anyway, let's finish this quick. So the ulama said لا طلاق ولا عتاق في إغلاق. They said the إغلاق here, the Prophet ﷺ said there is no, right? Okay. Just dial it and put it here. There is no divorce and no freeing of a slave في إغلاق. This إغلاق, the Prophet ﷺ said إغلاق يعني when it's closed on you, يعني you cannot think, okay? Or when you don't have a choice.
65 no working.
Huh?
8165 no working.
The what?
8165 for them to dial in. Where's the code to pass?
My pass?
Yeah, the code to pass.
Star 25, no, 48, 25, 77 pound. Alright, so now okay, so the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, the talaq, the divorce, will not count if you are in state of not having the ability to make your decision. And the ulama said to be coerced, someone else making your decision, forcing you to make a decision. So that falls under this إغلاق, okay? إغلاق. So obviously when someone coerced to divorce under a serious threat, then that divorce, if he goes through with it, that divorce does not count. قال المؤلف ولا زائل العقل. And also the one who lost his mind, his divorce will not count. Someone unconscious, if he says divorce while he's unconscious, okay, doesn't count. If he's sleeping, and if someone's sleeping and he's dreaming that he's divorcing his wife, and he tells, you're divorced, طالق, doesn't count. Okay, he doesn't have control. Someone who's going insane because of the economy, so he's going insane, doesn't count. So غضب, we'll talk about that specifically. Okay, so when if you lose your mind, the divorce doesn't count. قال المؤلف إلا السكران. We said the author is Hanbali, so his opinion says unless you're drunk, because when you're drunk you lose your mind. He said if you lose your mind, doesn't count the divorce unless you're drunk. If that's the way you lost your mind, we're gonna count. Why? What happened? That means everyone liked that. You can listen to it on the way. Let him call it. If you have it, just call it. So they said Hanabila, and that is not the right opinion. But their opinion, because we follow a Hanbali book here, but we're going to say what's right and what's wrong. They said because the drunk person, we're going to punish him by counting his divorce. How? He got drunk. Now, if you're drunk and you kill someone, do we say you're not responsible? La. Still responsible, as if you were not drunk. Okay? In Islam, you still. Just because you did haram, we're gonna just overlook your crime? La. Unless you play for the Miami Dolphins, right? Isn't the guy killed someone and run him over in South Beach and then they let him go?
Yeah, that was
Miami Heat?
No, that was Charles, the one in CNN. What's his name? The one in CNN.
Some player, right? Yeah. Some football player. Yeah, I wonder if I did the same thing. Of course, forget about being drunk. You know? Wow. I'm impressed. Okay, the point is, we do not say, of course, for his money. But the point is, the law here, even if you're drunk and you kill someone, you're gonna pay for it. Okay? But this guy paid with money. But the point is, in Islam, if you are drunk and you commit a crime, you will be held responsible. So they said, So when he divorced, we're going to punish him for getting drunk that by counting his divorce. Okay? يعني, they said if we're going to say it doesn't count, then whoever wants to divorce his wife and then come back, he'll go get drunk. If we say that if you kill someone, you're not responsible because you lost your mind by getting drunk, then whoever wants to kill someone will drink some and go kill someone. La. So the right opinion, when it comes to, but there is big difference between divorce and committing a crime. Divorce and killing someone, divorce and breaking someone's arm, divorce and transgressing on someone's property. There's a big difference. Because the divorce, because that thing between you and other people, it has to do with damage. In divorce, we don't want to damage the family. But with other stuff, with other crimes, you have damaged something, so you have to pay for it. But when you say talaq, if we say go along with it, then we're damaging the family. We're trying to preserve the family. So the right opinion is, if someone divorces his wife while he's drunk, yes, being drunk is haram. But if he divorces his wife while being drunk, it doesn't count. Because he falls under those who lost their mind momentarily. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the dalil, Allah, I gave you the logical, but the dalil, there's the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقول. Oh, you who believe, do not pray, do not come to the prayer, do not start praying, and if you're drunk, that was in the beginning, before drinking was forbidden, do not pray while you're drunk, because you don't know what you're saying. So this dalil is to say, then the person who's divorcing while drunk doesn't know what he's saying. So how are we going to count it? You understand? So if Allah says in the salah he doesn't know what he's saying, so obviously outside the salah he doesn't know what he's saying. And if he doesn't know what he's saying, then he's in a state of craziness, insanity. Alright? It's too complicated. ويقول الله سبحانه وتعالى also, the Prophet ﷺ, they brought him Ma'iz. Ma'iz, one of the Sahaba who committed adultery. And he was stoned to death. But when he came and to confess that he committed adultery, because after that is death. The Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahaba, أن يستنكه. يعني, the Prophet asked them to smell him if he's drunk. Look how the Prophet ﷺ wanted to save this man. So he told him, maybe he's drunk, he doesn't know what he's saying. So the fact the Prophet ﷺ told him, smell him, to make sure he's not drunk, indication that if he was drunk, then what he gonna say, we will not consider. Because once someone goes and confesses that he committed, it's the ruling has to be established. Alright? And also, Hamza, killed 2 camels for Ali bin Abi Talib, and he was drunk, and that was before drinking was haram, was forbidden. So the Prophet ﷺ came to rebuke Hamza and to tell هل أنت إلا عبيدا بأبيك؟ You guys know was the leader of Quraysh. That's when they were kuffar. So he's drunk, he doesn't know what. So the Prophet turned back and watched him. Because if you were, your mind is present and you make a claim like that, you're kafir. You're out of Islam. When you tell someone you're nothing but a slave to my father, that's a make But the Prophet ﷺ did not take what he said seriously, and he left because he's drunk and he's not thinking what he's saying. So all these are the proof that when the person who's drunk says to his wife, you're divorced, that does not count. Anger, when we talk about anger can be divided into 3. La talaq, no divorce and no freeing a slave, but cannot take place during ighlaq. We said the ighlaq meaning you are in state of not thinking what you're doing or what you're saying. And the major thing that can put you in that condition That's most of the time when someone divorces, he's angry. No one is sitting on his couch and joking with his wife and then looking, you're divorced. Okay? So usually when people divorce their wives, they're angry. They're having a fight, they're having argument, they're this, they're that. Some missiles flying around, some, you know, some chairs, some doors, whatever. Okay? So they're angry. That's when he will say divorce. The ulama divided divorce into three levels. You can be so anger into three levels. You can be so angry. If I tell you after you calm down, if I tell you, you remember what you did? You say, I don't remember anything. Doesn't happen? Sure. And I'm sure it happened to all of us. Okay? You're in a state that you cannot even remember what happened. You reach the roof. If you divorce your wife during that period, doesn't count. Because you are not making your own decision. The anger can be so mild. But you know everything, you're comprehensive, your apprehension, you know exactly what you're saying. If you divorce during that, it counts. Now there is a state in between. And that is, your anger is between here and there. Okay? Because there is extreme anger and there is very little anger. And there is between. Okay? If I tell you, do you remember you said it? Now if you lie, you say, no, I don't remember I divorced her. Then me as a mufti, according to the dalil, okay, you will hear the answer, okay, it doesn't count. But you know well if you said it or not. So if you know that you said it, and now you're telling the mufti, or the one you're asking for hukum, I don't remember I said it. And he tells you, according to what the information you gave him, it doesn't count. But you know deep in your heart that you know, so it counts. But you say, no, I was so angry, and I really regret it. I wasn't angry to the level where I did not know I don't remember what I said. And I wasn't just a little angry, I was angry. And I don't think I wanted to say it. I don't think I wanted to divorce her. So in other words, I did not make the decision, I made the call. I spit it out, but I did not make the decision in my heart. Understand that state? So in this state, the ulama have two different opinions. Some said it will count because he remembers what he said. Some said it doesn't count because he did not make his own decision. So as if he was forced to say it. Okay? And Allahu A'lam, this is strong. And we're going to go with this opinion because we want to preserve the family. But the fact is, the hadith is the excuse. The hadith says no divorce during a period where you cannot make your own decision. So if he's saying, yes, I divorced her, yes, I remember I said it, but I don't remember and I didn't feel that I wanted to make that decision. Okay? So some of the ulama said this divorce doesn't count. Okay? So here you have the three levels of anger according to the hadith. Okay? يقول مقصود بالإغلاق بأن يغلق على الرجل قلبه فلا يقصد الكلام ولا يعلم به كأنه انغلق عليه قصده وإرادته. أن يغلق على الرجل قلبه إغلاق comes from غلق to close. So they're saying he's in a state where his heart is locked. So he doesn't have access to his heart, make his intentions. So that the decisions coming out of his heart without him having access to the heart. That is the meaning of إغلاق, to explain it better. So he doesn't have will because his heart is locked. But any decision, anything is said, it's not a decision that he had control to make. It was made because of his anger. So it was made beyond his control. So that is the meaning of إغلاق. That's why such divorce will not count, because he did not make that decision. He said it, but it was made not by him. as if he was coerced. Okay, when he's coerced, he did not make the decision, he just said it. Alright? Allahu a'lam. We stop here. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. Wasn't long, right? Right?